And we are live. Oh, immediately launched my camera. Great start for me. Hello everybody. How is everybody doing? I know it's been a little while, but we are back. We are back streaming again. I hope everybody's been having a lovely day. It's obviously quite late in the, well, not late in the day anymore, but it's still absolutely boiling. For anybody who is in the UK, they know the struggle right now. It is ridiculously warm. So, first things first, we are painting another commissioned piece today. Specifically, we are painting a commissioned piece for the lovely Krytor, who we already painted a piece for before. If you remember our Dark Angel Azrael, we painted that for him, and today we are painting his Deathwing Knights that he sent us. So, I've already started painting a couple things off camera, but I will show you kind of the bases so you can kind of see what idea we had in mind, and of course show you the figure that we'll be focusing on. So this is like the main captain of the Deathwing Knights, so this is who we'll be painting on stream. As you can see, there is supposed to be something in his hand. That something in his hand is shields. I'm painting them separately just because I find it easier to be able to paint everything separately and then stick them all together for assembly at the very end, just because that way then I know I'm going to be able to get into every single nook and cranny, and yeah, it just means that the figure's going to be painted to the best of its ability. But this is what we've got to work with for now. Today the main focus, because the stream's going to be about 2.5 hours today, the main focus of today's stream is going to be getting all the base stuff done, and then once we've done that, we will then move on to shading and obviously of course highlighting at a later date. But we'll see how far we get today. We might get into the shading stage, we don't know. So after some discussions with Krytor, we decided to go for a Mars or Martian base for this particular set. And this is what we decided on. So these have been done off camera because I already have a short available on the channel for these. But for a quick run through, in case you don't want to watch that, which I completely understand if you don't feel like it, but if you do, it is on the shorts part of our channel. We'd love it if you can go and watch those and support us there. But what we did was a base layer of Mournfang Brown. That was the base of the entire thing. I then went over the top of that with a thick layer of technical Martian iron crust and left that to dry overnight. I then went over the top with the shade paint Agrax Earthshade, just to add a little bit more of a darker hue to it and also make it actually look a bit more dried out. Following this, I then went in with a dry brushing of Jacaro Orange. I went in with like 2 or 3 coats of this just to make sure there was a little bit of a off-white pigment there. And then I went in with a very, very light dusting of Flayed One Flesh over the top of that. And then of course I rimmed the edge with Abaddon Black to finish it off. So that's how these bases were done. Like I said, they're done off camera. There is a short available on the channel if you want to watch how I did it. So, without further ado, let's get into the figure. First things first, how's everybody doing? Like, how's everybody been? I know it's been a little while since we streamed. Hope everybody's been having a good day, good time, good week. And it's been like well over a month since we last streamed, and for that I do apologise. We said we were back, and then we just weren't. Everything kind of went a little bit topsy-turvy, but we are back now, I promise. And whilst Mr. Nerd is home, I will be painting and doing things more regularly. So, first thing I'm going to go in with is Flayed One Flesh, and I'm basically going to cover the entire figure in this, because the first time I did this, it kind of requested me to go in with Xandri Dust when I was doing the Citadel colour guide, but for these figures, Xandri Dust just felt a little bit too dark, so I initially mixed Xandri Dust with Wraithbone, and it created an alright colour, but then I realised when looking through my colours, this is more or less the colour I created, so rather than making my life harder and trying to colour match, I could just go in with this. So this is what I'm going to go in with. So I'm just decanting a little bit of that onto my wet palette before we start. But I have missed streaming, I have missed being able to talk to you guys. I think one of the best parts about this channel is having the ability to interact with you guys live, and yeah, I've missed it. For colour schemes, I'm keeping very much in mind a lot of the discussion that Krytra and I had for when I was painting Azrael. And one of the things that he really loved then was the fact that I used the gold colour Auric Armour Gold, just because with this like paler or off kind of creamy yellow colour, it just works really well. So I will be using that again for this figure. Oh, live stream. Hello, Signed. How are you? I've missed talking to you, Signed. How are you? Hi, Mrs. Hi, Signed. How was the weather been for you there, Signed? Am I okay audio-wise, Signed? Can you hear me alright? I've made like just a few edits to my audio setup again today, just because it was still messed up from the last time I tried to set it up and didn't do it right, and now I've set up a little bit better. I'm good. The weather is boiling. Yeah, I know that feeling. So at some point over the next week, Sign, I'm going to be finishing off. Also have a new kitty. Oh, I need to see photos. What is the kitty's name? Please, I must know. The music's a tad overpowering. Okie dokie. I can turn that down. It might be a bit too low, but let me know if that's changed it at all. So it's like a little bit of a learning process. Ooh, let's not throw him already. Just started. What is the new kitty's name, Signed? New kitty is also a void kitty. Irene and Guy. I love that. Another void kitty. How old is the void kitty? Obviously renamed as an adoption. What was the kitty's original name? She's said to be 2 to 5 years old, so she's still very young. Yes, I adopt. Love. Love that. And how is Nyx getting on with her sister, her new sister? Have they been introduced yet? Any negative with these not already being on their bases is that, sorry, just not my desk, is that I have nothing to really hold on to when I'm painting. That it's going to end up being a case of I end up having to repaint certain areas because I have to hold certain points. Just going to decant a little bit more paint. How have you been anyway, Signed? They have to be separated for a week because Gaia has just been spayed, so I have stopped the separation. But I've stopped separation. They have met each other a few times before and they hissed and growled. It'll get easier, obviously. They will adjust. Like, you've had cats before. You know what it's like. But right now, she's just kind of establishing, why are you here? And hopefully soon she'll realise, Deathwing! Failed to report. Hello, how are you? We are doing Deathwing. We are doing the Deathwing Nights for the Lovely Cry Tour here on YouTube, so it's a very exciting piece. Give me 1 second, I'm just going to grab some tissue for my brush. Today they have met 3 times already, and the last time there was no hissing. Amazing. Gaia is exploring my home and has eaten Nyx's food, so she feels safer, I think. Definitely. That's a very good sign. Nyx will be probably a little bit offended, but she'll get used to it. Are you an amazing painter? I think I'm okay. I think I'm doing quite well, because I've been doing this for 1.5 years. I'm doing Deathwing too, so don't make me feel insecure, okay? I will try my best not to. I'm sure your Deathwing are amazing. Failure to report. But it's nice to see a fellow Dark Angels supporter here. So although these are a commission piece, my chapter is also Dark Angels. It's a win-win, really. New development with the kiddo. Signed. The wee man officially has 2 teeth. As of this week. Yes, of course. I'm to fellow Ferris, indeed. A joyous day. Now he can bite everyone. Indeed. He likes, because he's been teething, obviously he's chewing on things, and the other day he was like chewing on my finger. I was like, ow, that smarts a little bit. And then I realised why. He had his little fangs coming through. Mine are just Deathwing models, and they're going Alpha Legion colours. Amazing. Can't get a codex, so I'm playing Dark Angels. I sent you a picture of my new kitty. I will have a look. Signed. If you aren't already aware of it, failed to report, we do have a Discord channel. So if you do want to see the Discord pictures, anything that's been sent, then feel free to have a look over there. People's armies. Signed, she's gorgeous. She's so cute. I'm okay to show to camera the little void kitty. She's so small. Well, she looks very small. You may show Kitty. Thank you for giving me permission first. Look at Kitty. Look how sweet. That is good void kitten. Very sweet baby. On that size, I would say she's quite young. She looks quite young. Either that or she's just a very little lady. Oh, as I was saying, signed. I will be working on your second figure this week. So that way then I can send them both to you. Obviously, when your bestie next comes to visit you, I'll send them to her. And then, of course, I'll get you the brushes that I'm using as well. So when you come, you have the new ones I'm using, the Nick Pro brushes, the colourful rainbow ones, and your two figures in your cherry blossom theme. She's supposed to weigh 3.5 kilos. She must be a compact void kitten. I think so. We have a cat that for ages, she didn't weigh anything more than like 4 kilograms. And this is like, she's now 14 this year, 14, 15 this year. And she's only kind of now. Bestie comes over in October. Okay, thank you very much. No worries. I'll have it obviously ready by October for you. So, and because she was just really small in size, they would just kind of sit there and go, oh, look, it's the petite little lady. Look at this petite girl. Every time we went to the vets, I was like, yep, she is still little. She's just a petite girl. I have been very well hydrated today. Had to, the weather has been a bit unbearable. Failed to report, where are you from? Good, reminds me to get something to drink. Good, signed, good. I have a big bottle next to me. I've drank 2 of them so far. Michigan, US. Well, hello from the US. What time is it there for you? Just currently 10 to 7 in the evening here. (1:50 PM). Okay. So I'm not disturbing you at some ungodly hour, so that's good. Yeah, the UK has been going through, well, UK, most of Europe apparently, seems to be going through like a bit of a heat wave at the minute. So, and obviously one of the big negatives of our side of the world is not necessarily the heat. The heat is kind of, in some cases, high 30s to high 20s, which in grand scheme of things doesn't seem that hot. But then when you compare that to the fact you're in brick houses that are designed to insulate heat with no AC, It's been uncomfortable. And then high UV as well. I function during ungodly hours, lol. Yeah, I'd probably be in for my birthday, be my birthday in the basement crying if we didn't have AC here. You know, I actually completely feel that. There's been times when I've just been like outside and I'm like, what ungodly thing is this? I was told you need to keep the windows closed when you live in brick houses to not let the warm air in. Only open the windows at night when it has cooled down. So I do that now. Yeah, I more or less do the same. The other thing is as well is like blackout curtains. Just because they do actually help a little bit, but then as a result, you think, oh, glorious sunny days. And that's what most of the UK thinks. And then all of a sudden, and obviously same with Europe as well, and then all of a sudden it gets so hot that in the day you are sat there basically trying to move the least amount as possible, because if you move, you instantly sweat with the windows closed and the blinds pulled in basically just pure darkness, trying to function. And just drinking ungodly amounts of fluids and just hoping that it works. Ahoy chaps, hello. Mr. Rothman, aka the half of Nerdy Miniatures. Hello, Mr. Nerd. He is upstairs with the wee one, so I can stream. Have either of you got up to much today? Or do you have many plans left for the rest of your day fairly to report? Just to kind of give it more paint. This is going to need like probably at least one more coat of this to be as covered as I want it to be. But there are certain areas of this that are not going to be this colour, so on those areas I will go in and obviously paint them the alternative colour, and then I'll go back in over the other areas once they're dry. I'm good. I've done an adult thing and cleaned out my kitchen. Very adult. I like that. Lucky, my wife crashes out if I try to paint while kids are awake. Lol, nope, just waiting for the night so kids go to bed so I can actually paint instead of watching people do it on YouTube. Fair enough. No, it's something that we do. So whenever Mr. Nerd is home, now that we're kind of back into a schedule, because he was being a little bit unruly because he is only 7 months old, so he's still very much a baby. He goes through stages, obviously, of being really, really good, and then all of a sudden gets a little bit testy because he goes through, obviously, different growing stages and teething, and so on and so forth. And then as a result, in that time, understandably, my time that I would spend painting instead has to be dedicated to making sure he's all good. But now that his teeth have come through, he's a lot more settled and a lot more content because obviously they've broken through and he's not in as much pain. So yeah, the youngest is 8 months old. Congratulations, little boy or little girl? Little chaos... Little chaos demon in human female form. Ours is in male form. And you have kiddos, so how many chaos demon spawns in human form do you have? For the longest time, the little one was just called Baby Nurgling. Mine are in floof form. They are two lovely floof form babies. That are void in colour, aka black cat. In addition to a young child, we also have 4 cats, so our house is very busy. Yeah, we rolled a girl on our first and wanted her to have a sister and got lucky with a second right after, so not quite Irish twins, but pretty close. Yeah, that is pretty close. But 2 little girls, that's very nice. Congratulations to you. I can just hear mine having a go at his dad upstairs at the moment, actually. Not so much crying, just talking. I'm kind of whinging at him a little bit. Elton Nagling is rather emotional. He is. He has a walker, so... Yeah, you'd think so. Sadly, our near 2-year-old hates the 8-month-old, even though the baby just wants to play with her all the time. That hopefully will change, kind of as she gets older and realises, hang on, you are now suddenly my best friend. But at the moment, she's like, who is this thing? You just need another one. Our second is blissfully chill minus teething. The plan is to have a second one. But not for a couple years, until it one's about like 2. Because overall, like aside from the teething, he is a very, very happy baby. There's his moments where he's Nurgle. And then other times where he is giggling, laughing, smiling. I was saying, he has a walker now. So he just kind of strolls himself around the house quite confidently in that. We'll just put him in that when we first come downstairs and he's quite content. He's developed an emotional attachment to our bin at the moment. I don't know why. Yeah, I didn't want to get out of the baby stage of life and dive back in again. Lost, we backed it. I don't blame you for that. I think someone said to me, like, their advice, and if I was going to have another one, is, like, just do it until, like, do it in a close enough succession. Hello, Gray, good evening. Do it in a close enough succession that neither of you are then having to repay for nappies or diapers. Like, you basically are already still buying them, so there's no need to dive back in. Haha, yeah, that stage is so cute. Speaking of fellow girl dads, Grey Slayer is also a girl dad. Yeah, like, he can be given a million toys. It does not matter. He sees the bin, he grabs the bin bag and just starts dragging it around the house. I don't know why. He's developed an attachment to it. Yeah, we saved a fortune by having another girl so close that we still had everything from the first. Very, very true. At the moment, I am going through a lot of guilty as charged. You are indeed. This report here has 2 little girls, Grey. And Sian just got a new kitty cat. So she now has 2 void kitties. I'm just leaving that to dry for a second so I can actually touch it a bit more. Two girl dads, and then you've got boy mum and boy dad over here. Though she's off on holiday with her mum at the moment, so we are child free till Tuesday. Oh, lovely. It's that hot in my house that the piece of paper that I use for my wet palette is literally drying and starting to stick up. I re-wet it just before I started, so half an hour ago. And the actual sponge underneath is soaking wet. It's just that hot in the air that it's just sucking the moisture right out of this paper. So I may have to just re-dampen it a few times. Both of our parents live over an hour and a half away, so we never get a break. That is fair enough. I'm good, Rotham Gaming. Just back from treating the missus to a dinner at a new Japanese restaurant. That was amazing. Amazing. Yeah, good luck with the wet palettes in this heat. It's already proving to be a struggle. But it's a shame because I love my wet palette. I just want it to behave itself. Great, I have a photo of Sian's kitty if you'd like to see it. They're kind of also a necessity, definitely. I've got something to drink and an ice cream. Very good shout. We have ice cream in our freezer. We have like 3 different kinds. Mr. Neb went out last week and just treated us to a bunch, so it's all in our freezer. Got caramel, pistachio, and almond. Magnum chocolates. Chocolate ice creams. I will just show you right here. The sweetest of babies. Little void kitty. Oof, we have mini tubs of Haagen-Dazs in ours. Amazing. Well, I have not had Haagen-Dazs ice cream in a very long time. What a flavour. Might have to treat myself to some summer fruits and cream. Ooh. Pink lemonade. Very nice. It's more like iced lolly than ice cream. No, I miss having cats. One of mine was a void kitty. Aw. They are very sweet. Going in with some Caliban green now. I might switch to a smaller brush, actually. Our next neighbour has a bunch of cats. And they were like really sweet, but also just like a little bit timid to be kind of around us, which was understandable. Because we are technically strangers. And then the other day, I just kind of walked out there to put some rubbish into my bin, and this big shadow of a cat kind of loomed over me, and I looked up. I have 6 kittens right now. Want one? Don't. Will FedEx. Don't tempt. Are they a specific breed of kitty, or are they just kittens of cat form? I'm not allowed more cats till the dog goes over the rainbow bridge, sadly. That is understandable. Just I keep knocking my microphone, I do apologise. Just a little reminder to anybody who hasn't already then to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our notifications to watch our live streams, and of course for our video content that we post throughout the week. And also down in the description you will find a link to our Discord channel, so if anybody wants to join that, we share pictures of Kiggies, but we also and our various animals, we also share our content, so everybody else's paint jobs we see on there. So it's a lovely little community, slowly growing, and we absolutely love it. So if you want to join, please feel free. Too much water, suddenly. These are our new Deathwing Knights for Krytor. I'm already making a mess of this cream that I laid down, but it's okay, I'm doing a second coat. They're just feral short-haired cats. We took in a feral for a week and found out she was pregnant. Aww. What do you think your paint's with? This is just water, Condrill. Thank you so much for joining us. 2 cream and whites, 1 tiger grey and white, 1 all grey, 1 black and 1 orange. Oh! It's so cute. We have 4. We have a rare ginger girl, so 20% of ginger Kiggies are female. We have a ragdoll, who's our beautiful big grey and white boy. He's just lovely. We have a British short hair mix boy. It's like a bit tabby / British short hair. And then we have a ginger boy called Sid. And I think Sid's a very fitting name for a ginger boy. I'm making a messy job of this. That is why we don't do the final coat on the rest of it. We wait. Uh-oh. Speaking of kitties, one's immediately jumped up onto my desk and I'm like, what are your plans, sir? They've been suffering in this heat, unfortunately. I think I'm going to go in with a smaller brush, actually, for that top section. One second, I have to assist the cat. I don't know if it's me, but my Discord link said invalid. I will quickly grab it for you, and I'll pop it into the chat so you can see it, and then I will have a look at that after the stream and make sure it's correct. Air conditioning isn't illegal or taboo, but for us specifically, we just don't have it here. In fact, give me one moment, I'll get that up in just a sec. A window unit is life-changing, definitely. I agree with you there. We don't have one, unfortunately. So like I said, we're in the position where we're just kind of sitting in the dark most of the day or just avoiding the sun. Rothma Gaming, aka the other half of Nediment, has just posted the link if you want to join the Discord. If you follow that, that will take you to our channel. Back to baby duties. Any issues, let me know. I'm the tech savvy one. He is. There's a kitty on my shoulder for a second there. And there's still a kitty on my shoulder. It is our rare ginger girl. Hello, girlie. The fluffy one is under there, hiding from the heat. I don't blame him. Our cats are all in hiding. It's like it's too much. I've had a brush today, kind of get off any of that bulk fur. Doesn't matter. Like, it's still too hot. I was tired. You're doing great, Rothma. Indeed. It's actually really nice now, because whenever the little one is kind of around his dad, you can kind of see it that he's developed an association and a connection now. Like, he registers that that's his dad, which is quite nice. There's been like times when he's been absolutely like hysterical and I cannot calm him down, and the minute his dad holds him, he's like, I'm fine now. He's like, oh, thanks. You just needed your dad then. Great. It's wonderful when Mr. Ned is here. But when he's away, it's like, there is nothing I can do. So I've taken now to, because Rothma has like some videos up on his YouTube channel. He doesn't post anymore, but he does have some content that's still up there. So what I've taken to doing, a little trick that I've learnt, is I now, if he's really unsettled, I'll put on his videos like as high a volume as I can take. And he kind of stops crying for a second and kind of looks for his dad, and it breaks the crying process, and it kind of tricks him into thinking his dad's there. So that's been quite helpful. I'm going to be going in because I'm going to do essentially the same thing that I did for my Lionel Johnson. My 40k, or specifically my 30k model. Which, speaking of which, I'll grab that in just a second. I'll go grab it right now. We are back. So for reference, when it comes to colour schemes, this is 30k line to begin with. So this is what we're working with as like some of our inspo. I would show you Azrael, but obviously he belongs to Krytor, so you can see that content on the channel if you want to see how he turned out. But this is Lion, and specifically the colour scheme we're copying is what's on the back of his cape, where I did a coat of Caliban green as a base and then went over with Moot green and Warpstone Glow as a highlight. Be doing that exactly the same for the Deathwing Knights, so it has that luminescent green but then this dark green base, because I did that for Azrael and Krytor really enjoyed that last time. There's not really going to be very many black elements on this one, so it's going to rely a lot on white and metallic highlights, I think. So obviously they're very pale, and I've got a few different red tones to play with for this. For certain areas, I'm going to do a combination of like some areas are green and some areas are red between the 5 figures. But for our main guy, I'm going to go in and do the exact same colour scheme that I basically did on Lion, because that went down a treat with myself, and Krytor really enjoyed it. Everything's about applying layers in this case, so I've got nothing that looks patchy. And it's also hence why I'm waiting to redo the cream until like the very end. Switching between brush sizes, between like my dinky little ones and my big ones, depending on which area I'm painting. I do love the combination of like the cream and then the dark green though. It is a really nice colour combo. Like I said, it's going to have some dark green in there, it's going to have some gold in there. Lots and lots of little areas that are going to be quite nice. I appreciate that when my kiddo's older, he's probably going to be used to these like Mediterranean style summers. But right now he's a little bit like, what in the devil is this? So I've gone ahead and kitted out his pram with a fan that I can look attached. And we went out with it for the first time today, and I've been, like, it's changed my, how I go about things, because that was incredible. So much so we've actually plugged it in up there, so there's like a proper big fan on one side of the bed where Mr. Nerd and the baby are, and then on the other side of the bed I've clipped in the little fan and kind of cast it down directly onto him. So we've got 2 fans going at once. Mine's just mini and portable. And USB chargeable, which is fun. There we go. Whilst that dries a bit more, I'm going to go in and do some of the creams on some of the areas where it's like nowhere near the green, where it just needs a new layer, a new extra layer. Did something pretty recently that is quite fun. I've only ever kind of used paint thinners for oil-based paints, but I went in and used the Vallejo thinner medium, and I used it with Vallejo paint and also Citadel paints, and I did it to fill in the cracks on Crixit from the Cities of Ash box, and It worked so well, and I can't wait to do it again. But yeah, I'm now looking for figures that have like scales or cracks in them so I can do that again, because it's so fun. Little side note, sorry. I've just remembered I can see my thinner on my desk and I just thought, ooh, that was really enjoyable. Just decanting a little bit more of my flayed one flesh. And then also going to have a small water break whilst I'm at it. There we go. That was also an opportunity if anybody has not got water to go grab some themselves. Staying hydrated in this hot weather. Alright, time to get started on my... Ooh, Tatara's Terminators. Ooh. Very, very cool. So we recently did a competition for our store where we did strictly a contrast paints only challenge for our content. The video will be coming up this week on what we did. You can see the previews, like the photos are already on the Discord channel, but the actual videos on how we did them will be out this week, because it was like a competition piece technically between myself and Mr. Nerd, but also not really because it was a competition piece for the store. But regardless, it was a challenge because we've never done a competition where we strictly just use one type of paint before. And not only that, but it was contrast paints. And I don't really use contrast paints. I love contrast paints now. But it was less to do with whether or not I liked them, more to do with the fact that I wasn't very confident with them. But one of my aims for 2026 is to get more confident using contrast paints. So having an opportunity to do that was actually perfect for us, because it meant I got to improve some skills, which I'm still working on. Like, the figure itself is not 100% perfect, I know that, but I'm very happy with how it turned out regardless of those facts, because for a first time like contrast only video with like a few extra things, I think it did quite well. They really liked it in the store, so I'll class that as a win. Essentially what we had to do for the store was we rolled 2 dice, and it was enabled like 1 to 6, and on one of them it was like human, monster, machine, etc. And then the second one was what paints you could use. So in my case it was like Flayed Mantis. I can't remember them all actually off the top of my head. I have them like off to one side, but it was like 3 specific ones, and we had to use only those, and then we could use white, black, lead belcher, and then any technical paints we liked for the bases. But the winning pieces were absolutely incredible. I know this colour is technically called Flayed One Flesh, but I feel like it should just be renamed something to do with the the Deathwing Knights, because this is actually the perfect colour for Deathwing Knights. So it's like still doing a little bit of cleaning up on the green areas, but definitely looking a little bit more Deathwingy. Been going for about an hour, and so far you're at this stage. I love any opportunity to do anything Deathwing, or just anything, obviously Dark Angels, for obvious reasons, and some not so obvious, but I do enjoy it. I'm just going to paint the sole of this foot, because I can't remember whether or not both feet are like solidly on the base or not, or if there's a chance that even the tiniest bit of like heel could be lifted. So just for that, I'm just going to paint the base of this foot. That one's obviously a rock, so that one will get rock colours later. For nobody who was here at the beginning of the stream, or anybody that wasn't at the beginning of the stream, Krytor asked specifically for Martian bases for these, or Martian style bases. So I went ahead and did these off camera. There is a short on our channel to show you exactly how I did this, but it was super simple. And I think the contrast of like the reddy orangey tones will work really well against the Deathwing Knights. Yeah, his feet are completely flat, but just in case there's like a tiny heel lift or something, at least now I know there'll be less chance of it being seen as a grey area. So I know that Fearless Report has got some Deathwing stuff going on. What about the rest of you guys? What have you got going on? Obviously, we know now what Sign is also doing. Condrill, have you got anything going on? And Grey, have you got anything going on at the moment? Feel happy to share, of course. I'm trying to paint a viper. Ooh. Very nice. It's going. I like that. It's doing, it's going. I'm doing some emphasis on wow, very nice. They will need your address soon, like end of month, halfway through next. I'll send you guys some bits. Absolutely, I will get that to you, Gray. I've been in build mode for the past few weeks. I sub-assembled my 11th edition Space Marines, my Black Rage Blood Angels, all my named characters. I promised Roth some scaly boys. I will absolutely give that to you. We can get that sent across, Gray. No worries at all. My Blood Angels Combat Patrol. I love that. You do love your Blood Angels. I'll be getting around to painting my combat patrol at some point this year. I just don't know when. There's like a bunch of projects, obviously, that will come before that take priority. Any commission pieces we get sent will be for free for the first one. The first one's for free. The only thing we ask for is postage and packaging. Anything after that will be at a completely fair negotiable rate. I've got my Knight Errant in the booth right now, but can't spray until kids are asleep. Ugh. What colour are you going as your base for spray paint? Myself and Mr. Nader was looking at expanding our paint range, because right now we almost exclusively just use Citadel. But again, that was the thing of like, it's the recommended paint that comes with the figures. But in the same breath, we've got like a lot of Vallejo stuff we want to have a look at, and a bunch of other brands as well. Because I've only had good things so far with the Vallejo colours and products I've used so far. So I do want to kind of get more into that, just to kind of have a bit more of an expanded colour category. We also picked up a new game, technically, the other day, that is a project that is not Warhammer related, but it is minis. And it is called Warriors of Athena. Which I'll just grab those for you to have a look at what I'm working with. Vallejo Black Prime, Army Painter Heavy Metals for the frame. Then Mithril over the armour, 2 coats. Then Army Painter Plasmatic Bolt, 3 parts. To Tidal Blue, 1 part for the plates, silver for the trim. I love that. That sounds like it's going to be very, very cool when it's done. Oh, I'm throwing things. Right, so first things first, obviously you have Athena herself. They're all metal figures, so that's going to be fun to paint. With Athena, we have Ares, have Artemis and Apollo. And then we have Sphinx, Harpies, some fun mythic bees, the Minotaur or Minotaur, however you want to pronounce it. And then Fury, and finally Centaur and Satyr. So we've got lots of fun figures to paint. This is like a whole new game. We've brought like the quest, we've got the whole book set and everything. So that's going to be like our next project, like outside of Warhammer stuff. So you guys actually want to see that, then make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. Because we're actually really looking forward to it. Anybody who knows us at this point will know that we have quite a big fixation on mythology and Greek mythology specifically in our house. So it was one of those things when we found out there was a game, we kind of just felt like we needed to buy it. It was a must. Okay, what comments have I missed? Andrew, the solution should be put a big glob of paint on it more often than it is. Absolutely agree with you. I bought an Airfix Spitfire the other day. Ooh. Ooh. I may have to see a photo of that signed. But yeah, like Greek mythology has a lot of like symbolism in our house. It's something that we really, really love. So it's definitely something that if there's an option to play something like that, we are going to do it. Was saying earlier, Gray, the wee man has got his first 2 teeth. He has officially achieved his bottom gnashers. And I only really discovered the other day that he had them when he bit my hand and it hurt. Do you know how dry brush and glow in the dark turns out? I haven't actually experimented with that. I want to. The only thing I've kind of done is like high and low contrast as far as like brightness against darkness. But I haven't done glow in the dark stuff, but that sounds really, really cool. I would absolutely love to see some of that. And do some of that. What paints are you looking at using to do that? You've got me curious now. Thinking of ideas. Right, whilst that green dries, I'm pretty happy with overall coverage of the robes now. There might be a couple of areas that I might go in and just look a little bit of spot cleaning up later. I'm just going to have a look at a photo of stuff that Krytor has sent me, just so I kind of get a general idea of placement and brightness of the regs. We're going with some red next. You won't be able to see into the cockpit from the top, but there are cracks in the back you can peek through. Ooh. Absolutely fine. Right. Just going to have a little look at, because I think it's kind of more vibrant red, but I could do, of course, the superior red and go in with some of the good old corn red first. Where am I? There. Yeah, I think I can make that work. I think what I will do is I'll go in with some corn red, and then after that, I will then go in with stuff like Methystone and Evil Sun Scarlet to add the brightness, just because I feel like it works best with the contrast that way. But I will, in other areas, strictly just use Methystone, depending on the area. But for the most part, I will be using the Superior Red and using corn red. So just shake a bit of that up and decant some onto my wet palette, which is still somehow kind of wet. It's kind of functioning, not fully. The heat's definitely drying it out. But yeah, some corn red first for now. Normally I'd go over the eyes with white first and then go in with the red. But because they're already quite light because of this, I'm not going to do that. Definitely need to go and do a little bit of cleanup with the blade one, but that's fine. With this, I'm kind of going in with like the tiniest amount of water on my brush, just because I don't want to risk flooding any of these areas and risk it spilling everywhere. The music sounds like a Zelda level. It is pretty similar. It's Final Fantasy, so it's kind of got that vibe to it. So going with a little bit of that flayed one now, and just that little bit of cleanup I had to do. There we go. A lot of the other elements that you can see, like the patches on his shoulders, his headdress, and on his knee, they will be in gold. So, as far as red elements, I think that's a good place to stop with this particular figure. But there are various other elements on the other figures that are going to be more red than this. So, go ahead and decant some red now. Not some red, some gold, rather. Which this, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be auric armor gold. This is a particular gold that I used before, that Krytor really enjoyed, so I will be using it again. It's so pretty. It's an almost brand new pot. Like I've dipped into it like maybe once. The paint is super, super smooth and glossy. So and the perk of this, obviously being on a lighter base, is that these should show up really, really well in comparison to a darker base. So it's a bit of a win-win, really, having such light figures. I'm going to do 2 coats of this, like I always do. We'll be back streaming again tomorrow night, but I am going to take a photo of this at the end of the stream to send to Krytor, so he can kind of see my progress and see if there's anything he wants to add before tomorrow's stream. Of course, if he can be there, that would be amazing, but I understand people are busy and lead busy lives, and my job as the person commissioning the pieces is to paint what people want to see. So, as I mentioned before, anybody who would like a commission piece, the first one is free. The only thing we ask for is that you pay for postage and packaging. Hello, Summit. How are you? A wild Summit has appeared. It's going to need a good couple of coats to really make that gold stand out, but against the paler background it will turn out very nicely. I'm good. 11 days, holiday starting tomorrow. Ooh, are you doing anything nice with the time? Quote, what does Pokey say? I don't know, what does Pokey say? Not really. Only got the time given to me yesterday. Oh, surprise! Definitely not enough time to plan anything. Are your pockets still a bit sore from Japan? What does the Pokédex say? A World Summit has arrived. Who is that Pokemon? It's Summit. It is a wild summit. Well, hopefully you can actually enjoy it, Summit, and get some nice stuff planned, or do some things, relax, unwind. Of course I want to go again, of course. I feel like it's a must. I think like just as you financially recover from going, you'll book and go again. I feel like it's only fair to do it that way. Is there a specific time of year you're looking at going this time, Summit? Because I remember you saying it was like really, really busy last time. Not that Japan's ever going to be not super busy, but there are quieter times. I'm going to be highlighting this in silver, but I'm going to be going over the top with some, I think, probably some Seraphim Sepia. Just because I feel like it will show off all the detail that the gold pink kind of hides. It's coming together quite nicely. We've been going for just shy of an hour and a half. This is our progress so far. Like I said, I've still got a couple of little areas I need to go in and do some clean up with the creamy colour. Because it needs like a couple of extra coats in certain areas. But he is coming together nicely. I'm expecting my neighbours to get particularly loud later when the football starts. They're like avid football fans. And tonight England is obviously playing against Norway. So I'm expecting quite a lot of noise from next door. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. I was walking around like my city centre today and it was just like a million people in England shirts. It's kind of hard to forget. It's like, oh yeah. Belgium lost yesterday to Spain. Was to be expected. Spain is a better team after all. Spain has won many a World Cup, so that makes sense. Norway has been the only one, like I'm not like a big follower of football, but like I know a lot of my family are. I kind of said to them, the only one that I've ever been concerned about them actually going up against so far has been Norway. So if they're going to lose to anybody, they're going to lose to Norway. Just because of just general history, statistics, and just kind of how they tend to roll. So if they're going to lose to anybody, that would be the only people that I would say 100%. Mexico was actually interesting. Like the way, like how they won that is quite impressive. Because obviously I looked it up afterwards, so I'd speak to my dad about it. And yeah, only like the third game Mexico has ever lost in that stadium in its history. So that's quite impressive. I'm speaking up a little bit of Wraithbone now. We're quite lucky that we live far enough away from like our city centre that tonight when all the pubs get a bit rowdy and a bit loud, we won't be able to hear any of it. So that's very helpful, obviously, with the child, which means that we don't have to worry about lots of excessive noise, keeping him awake, keeping us awake. So it's a win-win, really, in that regard. That Wraithbone, I'm just going over the feathers and the parchment areas. I think it's like quite common. I've seen it with quite a few people here in the UK, where if the minute your team's out, a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't want to watch it anymore. Like, I'm not interested. My team's not winning. And then like a couple of weeks pass and they're like, oh yeah, they won. The cafe is around the corner, broadcasted all of the Belgian matches, and some of them were at 2 in the morning or 4 in the morning. Easy to say, I knew when we scored. Yeah, that's very fair. Something that is quite impressive though is the amount of like Brits that kind of over in the US have like taken over areas that like, where did these people come from? Why are they here at this particular game? This isn't football, this is like American football, this is baseball, this is something else. And they've just kind of, because they're there, they're like, well, we might as well go and watch. And in typical, one thing you cannot deny about British football fans is they definitely know how to create interesting songs when it comes to supporting people. They're either really funny or sometimes really offensive. But I feel like it sounds strange saying part of British culture, but specifically British football culture, that seems to be quite common. And some of the US, like some of them have absolutely loved it. Some of them have not. Which is understandable. They can be like even in the UK, they can be a bit much. Oop, dropping things. Yeah, it's one of the perks, though, of kind of moving more into the country. More people love it than not. Yeah, very, very true. There's been quite a few Americans who kind of, after America was out, were like, well, we might support somebody. And they've gone ahead and supported England because they viewed them as kind of like the underdogs. And because in many ways, like, it's been 30 years, I think, to my knowledge, since England have won a World Cup. Might be more than that, but I think it's 30 years. So the likelihood of them winning, in many cases, does make them the underdogs, but obviously they are doing quite well so far. The fact they were like very much expected to lose in Mexico and then didn't. And I mean, just for record's sake, if nothing else, if they don't win the World Cup, they scored the first goals. Bearing in mind, Mexico have not let a single goal through this entire World Cup. And the game that they are out in is the game where they get 3 goals scored on them. 3 goals actually get past. So that's in itself something that's quite impressive in a stadium that was mostly Mexican fans in an altitude that we are not used to. We're mostly celebrating our cultural domination as Europe is mind blown by C-tier food. I like that. I'm only going to go for another 25 minutes instead of doing till 9, actually. Just because I feel like I want to make sure this is fully dry before I go in with any of the shade paints. And because I'm also not entirely sure 100% what shade paints I want to use yet, and I want to run that by Krytor. So this is Runefang Steel, by the way. Belgium was the only country that was able to score against Spain. Proud of the Red Devils. Yeah, you should be. I feel like I'm one of those people where when people say, especially with sports, when people are like, oh, you shouldn't be proud of your country, they haven't won a game in X amount of years or a championship in X amount of years. I'm like, I think if you're a supporter of your team, regardless of the sport, you should be able to proudly support your team, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I just think it's quite funny when you have other countries that cast like serious doubt and say, oh, they're not going to win, they're the less, like, they're the weaker team and blah, blah, blah. And then they absolutely dominate and you're like, oh. In fact, this might be the last thing on here that I actually have to paint. A World Cup of any sporting event is the only time all the Belgians come together to support the teams. Yeah, I think that's fair. Same in the UK, to be honest. it's one of those things where you only support your team at set times, and football seems to be like a universal thing that most people connect over. There's a few extra skulls that I didn't see before. So no, we haven't won a World Cup, but we have done well. You have done well. Right, on this little patch, I'm going to call it at that, guys. That's the last thing that needs to be painted. Like I said, I'm going to run the shade paints by Krytor when I send him a photo of this in a little bit so he can see the final product. But this is where we're at so far. So his sword I'm going to do in some silver. But yeah, that's what we're at. So hope you guys have enjoyed this stream. It's lovely to be back, and I'll be back again tomorrow to continue on with this. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then subscribe so you don't miss out on that. But anyway, thank you so much everybody for joining us again. Everybody who's new, everybody who's old, thank you everybody for being here. But regardless, have a wonderful night. If you're watching the football, let's go England. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye for now.